I have figured it out. JAX will be the one to escape the amazing digital circus, and I'll prove it with Japanese. Peep game and lock in. JAX might just be the most notable character from the amazing digital circus. If you're unfamiliar with this Rabbids reject, JAX is, for all intents and purposes, the more antagonizing one of the bunch. He constantly torments the other members of the main cast for his own amusement, wreaks havoc for fun, and does it all with that manufactured smile on his face. He's the one that feels the most at home in the circus, which is exactly why he'll be the one to leave. Let me preface this by saying this video will contain spoilers for the Amazing Digital Circus, so if you haven't seen it yet, hop on over there, give it a watch, and then come back. Good? Cool. Every character in the Amazing Digital Circus deserves to be there, according to Gooseworks. But JAX deserves to be there the most. And if you think about it, it low-key makes sense. Everything we know about him up to this point indicates he's a terrible person, so Gooseworks' comment should surprise nobody. So if JAX deserves to be in the circus the most, and he's the one that leans the most into the absurdity of the circus, why do I think he'd be the one to leave? Well, that, my friends, is where the Japanese comes in. You see, shortly before JAX's infamous descent into abstraction in episode 7, we get this sequence. That hand belongs to Ribbit, JAX's friend who abstracted shortly before Pomni joined the circus. Now you may be wondering,
why of all people was Ribbit used to guide JAX to this abstraction cutscene?
One could say it's because they were his best friend in the circus, and so their abstraction would have likely left a large mental impact on JAX. And while that is true, we can also turn to Japanese to further explain why Ribbit triggered this phenomenon. It's because she's a frog. Frog in Japanese is kairu, and they have a very interesting history and symbolism in Japan. Because their name is one for one with the verb kairu, which means to return home, it is often said that frogs symbolize safe travels and a return to prosperity. All I'm saying is there's a reason Kaufmo wasn't the one to reach out to JAX, even though the two were likely close given this picture he has on his wall. It had to be Ribbit, and I believe it was to wish him safe travels on his return to the real world. Wait, please don't click away. I promise this will make sense in the end. I've stated before that I believe abstraction is the true path to escaping the Amazing Digital Circus, and you can see my reasoning more in depth with this video. So naturally, the character closest to abstraction, i.e. JAX, would also be the one whom I think will escape. And this is supported by his abstraction sequence. During that entire LSD trip, one thing that I couldn't help but notice was the way JAX moved. It was almost identical to the way Pomni moved when she was floating through the void at the end of episode 1. Not moving their body at all, overwhelmed to the point of stagnancy, everything lines up. Need more proof? Just before JAX is snapped out of this sequence, we see him approaching a part of the hallucinations that looks suspiciously like stairs. And where else have we seen this stair motif? It's in episode 3, when Pomni and Kinger get trapped in HE-double hockey sticks during a horrific adventure. They end up having to hold their breath and walk through a corridor filled with souls trying to possess their bodies, before making it to a set of stairs, the literal stairway to heaven, to guide them to escape. And with the circus constantly being compared to an HE-double toothpick like purgatory, this parallel seems to be more important than we're originally led to believe. It could be entirely possible that if we saw that sequence through to completion, we would have seen JAX's consciousness return to the real world. But I want to hear your thoughts. Let me know what you think down below in the comments. And if you like this video, consider subscribing. My goal is to find the hidden Japanese in everything that I care about, so I will definitely be back with more cracked theories just like this one for y'all in the future. Well, that's all I got. Bye!